beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Fuck all is going my way. Yep. I tell you what, it wouldn't be normal if everything was going right. I'm just going to pull over here and adjust my visor, because this is a new camera mount and it interferes when we can get neutral. There we go, it's in there somewhere. There we go, that's better. Not for you lot perhaps, but it is for me. Oh, I'm trying the clutch lever in a different position too, and I'm still not used. Obviously the bite point, the feel of the bite point changes, the physical one doesn't. But when you adjust an adjustable lever, obviously you adjust the span. I've got no idea how much of me you can hear. The audio on the last video, unbeknownst to me, I'd got it on a 20 decibel boost, which is why it sounded like I was down the end of a very long metal tunnel beating a small snare drum. So it's Sunday, I think it's the 29th of August, whatever, and we're out for Sunday din-dins today. We were down the Oxfordshire mansion yesterday for dinner and to deliver Rosie the Rover, because Mrs. Shed and the Shed Sproglets, can't really call them Sproglets, they're in the 20s, but you know, and only the shop dog, they're all going on holiday next week, and fitting all those into a Fiat 500 plus the dog and his paraphernalia of shite. I'm not saying it's impossible, because you know my missus could she could pack the Titanic into a suitcase. It's just that it would have been rather tight going. So she's borrowing the Rover, and the Rover will excel. We've put a roof box on him. No, Rosie's a her. So we put a roof box on her, a universal one, and my last experience of driving something with roof rails was that as soon as you got over about 35 miles an hour, you had a whistle, and it drove you crazy, because half the route I had to drive on was motorway. So of course, as you got up to 70 miles an hour, that whistle became a little tornado. Oh, windy pops. I haven't had a coffee or a tea yet this morning. I just thought I'm going to get out because I'm going to be busy later. So I just thought I'd get out down some of the local roads and just have a little bit of a play and a catch up with you guys. Before doing anything else. Next job on Nibbler, that is going to be the rear brake hose, and I shall replace that with a red hell hose, just to match the hell equipment I've already got installed, and I shall buy it off the same vendor too, because they are super quick with delivery. I mean, I have stuff that comes from Northern Ireland quicker than it does my own county, which probably says more about our postman than anything else. Of course, one thing we noticed last night, to get to our Oxfordshire mansion, I have a new route now. I used to use, you know, the same old routes, the A34 and all that lot. Sometimes I used to go via Southam, Banbury, Kidlington, that way, if you know the area. And I've got a new route now, and I'll go down the Foss and then through Shipston on Stour and just go to Blenheim and out that way, because the mansion is quite close to Blenheim, you know. Yes. This lorry in front is an offal wagon. Fortunately, he looks empty, but there is a livestock farm. Fuck me, that was a good pothole. And I looked at it, hence I went over it. What, like a plonker. That's from a livestock farm, and that carries all the wobbly bits and all that lot. And they fucking stink. If you've ever followed an offal wagon, or you know what they're about, you know how much they fucking hum. And he's got no indicators on his fucking truck, because he's on fucking quadruple time Sunday morning rate, and he's also driving a Scania, and they tend to be bell ends anyway. I've got a fucking Scania, mate. You want a Scania? No, you don't want a Scania. Nearly every Scania I've drove has not been as good as a Globetrotter. Right, enough waffle. So yeah, we're going to do let's get in top gear. Let's cruise, baby. You miserable fucking Jack Cruiser riding wanker. Anyway, yeah, so next job on Nibbler will be the rear brake hose, and then mechanically, tongue-in-cheek, it's about as good as I'm going to get him. And then we might just start tightening him up a bit. You know, I need to paint the wheels or polish them. To be honest, the bodywork could do with being repaired and repainted properly. One side of the belly pad just does not fit correctly, and I think the main fairing brace up top that holds the top fairing and all that lot, I think that's possibly bent. But I've got absolutely no reference as to how to judge how bent it is. I mean, I could measure off the centre yoke to the ears and measure those, because this was dropped on its right hand side. It was just too heavy for its last owner, which is why he got rid of it, which is completely understandable. But yeah, it's just one of them things. So yeah, next thing, clutch, sorry, rear brake hose, and then well, we'll go from there. It's going into neutral and stuff all right then. Nice. A47 car boot, coming by other people's shit. There's a car boot very, very close to us as well, and we tend to get all the Indian brethren out of town, which is great because they just go around fucking gobbing everywhere. Traffic Light Grand Prix. I know one thing, this I took the fuel sender out of this just to clean everything up because the inside of the tank was just cack. Had a lot of sediment in it. Ooh, big word of the day, sediment. There you go. I mean shit. So I took the fuel sender out. I didn't move the arm or anything like that. I just put it all back in as is with a new, sealed it up new, made sure it weren't leaking, etc. And right now I know I've got sort of well over a quarter tank, and it's saying I'm nearly on the red, so it's a lying bastard, because I've asked in the forums what kind of fuel range people get out of their ZX, and you know, depending on their riding style, where they ride, because that is critical, they get anywhere, but you know, you can safe to say 150 to 200 plus miles, which sounds about right, because I used to get 200 miles out my old ZZR11, and so far on this tankage of petroleum distillate I've racked up 95 miles, so in theory I've got, you know, the same again. I don't think I fucking have. No way, because each bike's going to burn differently depending on how the carbs are set up. Oh, cramping my leg then just as I went round the corner. Which was nice. It wasn't nice. It's one of the things you get, you know, quite often if you go pillion, is you get on the back of the bike and then you get like a cramp in your thigh or your calf, and Jesus Christ, you're about pole vault off the seat. If you watch my last video, my last disastrous vlog with the microphone issues, I'm probably having microphone issues now, but I'm not going to be able to tell till I watch back the footage. That's if I've remembered to turn the camera on. Ooh, we've got horses. Little fair in the pub car park there, and some lady having sex with a kestrel. No, she wasn't, she was sweeping the floor. Of course, it's scarecrow season around here. I don't know whether you have it in your counties or your country even. That's assuming I have an international audience, of course. But this time of year, harvest season, we used to celebrate a thing called Harvest Festival, and it was a thanks for the harvest. Obviously it's still done around the world, but a tradition that we get now, as you can see, is they put scarecrows everywhere. There's a Where's Wally? He's just there. He was fucking easy to find. And whole villages will what they call yarn bomb all the areas, so all the bollards will have yarn all over them, and they'll put scarecrow scenes out and stuff like that, and I think it's brilliant. Community getting together to make the whole place look better. There's a couple of homosexuals. You tell the homosexuals because they're white men in shorts. There are rules. It's like, you know, two men in a convertible should never have the roof down. Automatic homosexual. Not that there's anything. Not that I'm knocking it. Oh, I've got a couple of homosexual friends. Oh yeah, that old card. I've got a couple of black friends. I've got a couple of Indian friends. But you will I genuinely have. And it's, do you know what? There's some of the funniest people in the world. Really are. One of the best nights I ever had in my life is that an acquaintance of mine took me to, when I was young, like very early 20s, took me to a homosexual bar in town. And I had one of the best nights of my life, because you don't realise until you're a lot older and you mellow out a little bit, that places like that, and like places like Whitby and stuff like that, are very accepting of various cultures and lifestyles, shall we say, where in the mainstream you would be looked at as a bit weirdo. I mean, even, you know, I was brought up with Alf Garnett and Love Thy Neighbour and all that lot, and you know, it was the done thing that making fun out of black people, homosexuals or anything like that was it was just standard comedy. But it went again for the Irish and, you know, all that lot. Each county had its own idiot for its idiot jokes, because obviously in Britain we have the Englishman, Irishman and Scotsman jokes, and generally the Irishman will be the butt of the joke. In Ireland it will be somebody from another county, and in other places in Britain it will be somebody from another county, and I'm sure it's the same all over the world. But I used to think we actually had a more robust sense of humour then, because they did take the mick out of everything. You look at what Monty Python took the mick out of. Nobody ever dared say a word publicly on television against, you know, the government or the Queen or, you know, just the establishment in general. And it was it's not until like Monty Python came along that ever really happened in the mainstream. Of course, it was happening in pubs, clubs and student unions and all that lot for hundreds and hundreds of years. But Monty Python made it mainstream, and I suppose David Frost did too. So it's like, I have this attitude about humour. I think nothing, absolutely nothing, is sacred when it comes to humour. A joke is a joke, and people will either get it or they won't. Now, I have a very dark sense of humour. You know, so you'll watch a video of somebody falling into an industrial mincer or something like that, and you know, the shock culture that is prevalent today, go, oh my god, think of the children and and all this lot. I think it's fucking hilarious that he didn't have the common sense to fucking know he's working with an industrial mincer, grabs a bit of loose clothing, and before you know it, he's in a Tesco's package at £4.99. I just find stuff like that hilarious. But you have to see the humour in life. It's like, I'm quite opinionated on forums because, just like the rest of you, I know what I know. And what I know works. Because if it doesn't work, I tend to forget it, or I know not to use that particular method, or, you know, whatever. We're all the same like that. But there's far too many people that just get offended at everything. You could be a master tech. I've seen master technicians give advice out on forums, and I'm sure you all have too. It doesn't have to be a master technician, but there will be an expert in their field, or a well-respected, you know, person in their field, and they will give a bit of advice out. Oh yeah, you fix it by doing this, or what you need to do to fix your issue is this, and then you'll get 300 armchair experts who were, you know, experts on COVID last year, they're now experts on Afghanistan, saying, oh no, you don't do this, you don't do this. It's the in our sort of circles, it's the you know, do I use copper slip on brakes argument and all that lot. Listen, I'm a bit old. I say I'm a bit old school. I learned a lot of my bike mechanicking from being up a bike shop every single lunchtime for my lunch break for about 10 years, and I learnt the way he did things. He was a Kawasaki trained technician, and that's where I learnt to put a dab of white grease on gaskets, you know, stuff like that, anti-seize on brake bolts. I knew people back then that would spray their discs, their disc brakes, with WD-40 to stop them squeaking, because some prick jokingly has said, oh yeah, put WD on it mate, it will never squeak again. You know, factually true. But when people joke around like that, they assume you have a level of knowledge to know that they're joking, and some people don't. If you're new to something, you don't know. I mean, the police always used to have a saying, ignorance is no excuse. You know, it is an excuse. If you do not know something, then you do not know something. You know, you can't magically inhale knowledge. I mean, the best way to learn to ride a bike is just get out there and do it. Here we go. 3 gentlemen, 3 nods. Strike 3. Lots of bikes out yesterday. Seemed to be a lot of Triumphs out yesterday, heading towards Hinckley on the Foss Way. So whether there was something going on at Trump, I don't know. I don't fucking care either. I mean, I don't mind group rides out when I know all the people and I know how they ride. One thing I won't do is go out on a group ride with people I don't know. One, because I'm an antisocial grumpy bastard, and two, there is always on a group ride, especially if you don't know them, there is always one or two dickheads who like to just blast around, pull wheelies, fucking rev the bike to the limiter everywhere. You know, there are people like that, and that's why I don't do group rides. Don't mind riding with Mrs. Shed. I've got a couple of mates I really don't mind riding with because they know how I ride, I know how they ride, and usually their sense of direction is tragic, so I find myself leading the ride out anyway. I mean, it's like now I'm doing an indicated 60, but we know we're not doing 60. There's piss all traffic on the road because it's not early. It's about 8:30 on a Sunday morning, so most people are still scratching the balls. But you know, this is lovely. This is what I like to do, is to get out early on empty roads, and it's not so I can go completely mad, it's so I can enjoy the road, you know, without being stuck behind a stream of Sunday drivers, Doris and Derek going out to buy cat food at 25 miles an hour everywhere. You know, the kind of people that do 40 and a 60 and then continue to do 40 and a 30. We all know the type. But it's this is nice. This is what I enjoy. I just like to get out. I especially like to get out with Mrs. Shed on the back of the bike or on her bike, because it's quality time. It's just pure quality time. We had a brilliant time yesterday. We had a nice din-dins, I had a fuss from the dog. And you know what? That the dog, he's I'm going to get this right. He's a Cavapoo, which is a King Charles Cavalier mated with, in this case, a toy poodle. And he's now, at a year, got as big as he's going to get. And I'm sure I could throw him in a tank bag. I keep threatening to put him in a tank bag and take him out on the bike. You just pull out, mate. You bell end. He's going off for his early morning game of golf because he was wearing a golf sweater, the golf wanker. Ruin of a good walk. Tyre Medics there. Highly recommend Tyre Medics if you've got a depot near you. I know there's one in Hinckley, but if you've got a depot near you, they're brilliant, but they come out to your house as well. And I've never ever had a like a bad issue with Tyre Medics. My fucking lines today, because I'm waffling, are all over the shop. Do I care? Nope. Am I going to do anything about it? Probably not. So I've actually got my Guy Martin helmet on today, which is what I first tested this new camera mount on. And because I got my high-vis jacket on, mainly because it's about the warmest thing I own. You just do not get cold on a motorcycle on one of these. I've got an armour vest underneath, and it's a Dunlop high-vis jacket, so it's weatherproof. It is the most weatherproof jacket I've ever used on a motorcycle in 12 years of test riding. Is a bloody Dunlop jacket. This cock in front's doing 35 miles an hour in a 50. See, these are the kind of people that I get out early to avoid. And I know lots of people that get out early or they go out at night purely to avoid traffic, so they can enjoy the road. Oh, they've picked up a bit now. They're doing 45. Steady on. I'll tell you what, that gearbox would be a brilliant used bike because Top Gear ain't touched. I've given it a bit of thought. I might start a Facebook page for Shoestring Shed. Now there's not a lot of us, But you know, Christ didn't have a lot of followers at the start. I'm not comparing myself to Jesus. You know, I don't look that good in white. But it's just another place where all you guys that watch the videos can socialise with each other, get to know each other, show us your projects, your ways of doing things. Because, you know, my workshop, basically the way I do things, work for me. And they're not meant as how-tos, really. But just let me know in the comments section what you're working on at the minute. It can be a car, it can be a bike, it can be a boat, it can be a plane. As long as it's got an engine of some sort, I don't care. But just let us know what you're working on. The only problem with these vlogs is I always intend to get a video out every week. You know, even if it's just a little catch up. Oh, yeah, he's a little doggy. I'm not easily distracted. But it's thinking of, you don't, I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think about this, because if you do a vlog, do you need a discussion topic? So you know, you go out for a ride or you go out for a drive in the car, and this is today's vlog, and it's about, I don't know, sex with a kestrel on top of an old style TV unit, something like that. Or do we just waffle? Oh, look at that, perfectly timed. Good garage down there, Terry Taylor's. Good little garage. Did Mrs. Shed's Fiat the other year. Went in for an MOT, failed on a blown shock, and I think it was repaired about 3 hours later. Can't really grumble at that. Fair price too, very fair. Put it this way, I couldn't have bought the part and, you know, fitted it or anything like that, anything like as quick as they can, and for what they were charging, it was just a no-brainer to have it done. Horse box. It's a posh horse box. This is Hinkley Town, by the way, the home of Triumph. It has a B&Q, as does everywhere. I bet you could blindfold somebody if you removed had a little social experiment, removed all street signs and, you know, stuff like that, and put somebody in the middle of a town. These days you would be hard pushed to know where you were unless you explicitly knew the area, because everywhere has gone tattoo shops, coffee shops, you know, old style toy shops, model shops, hardware stores and all that lot. They don't fucking exist anymore. Well, I know of a few. I know of a really good hardware store quite close to us. He has basically everything short of a thermonuclear reactor. You'll go in, have you got this? Yeah. And you've been looking for this part online, because that is just the natural shopping trend these days, is to look online first. And try and order it online. We don't think these days to go out to a local community, because it's effort. It means getting off your arse. But you ain't doing 30, me old drug dealer in your old Audi. Jesus Christ. That arse had its own postcode. But yeah, but he carries everything. In fact, I've got bolts for the bike from him, which I couldn't get from Kawasaki. And we're coming out of Hinkley Town now and heading for Burbage, which is the correct pronunciation. It's not Burbage, it's Burbage, because I've just made it up Oh look, old English sheepy there, how beautiful. Don't see many of them around. Little poodle. So ever since getting a dog, I've always noticed dogs, because the last dog we had was my sister's, and he was a Springer Spaniel, mad as a box of frogs. And he made it to, I think, about 16 years old, and then he started to have lots and lots of trouble. And well, it was just the kindest thing to, you know, put him away across the rainbow bridge, as they like to say these days, which is a disgusting way of saying it. I've got a little prick in a Ford Fiesta behind me who somehow thinks that a bog stock Fiesta is faster than 1988's world fastest superbike. And do you know what? If he wants to go around me and all that lot, I'm going to fucking let him. Because I ain't out to be ripping world speed records or out like that. I'm out to enjoy myself. The front end feels a lot better since it's actually got new forecoil. No surprise really. But I do think I need to tweak on the tyre pressures a bit, because the tyre pressures actually recommended in Kawasaki manuals and all that lot were for different tyres. You know, tyre technology since this bike came out has come on a staggering amount, and I mean a staggering amount. We form our opinions on tyres basically when we're learning, or we're on L plates, or we have our first motorcycle. And you know, you might have a few moments where you squeak the back end, or you lock the front end up, or whatever, and your safety limits for tyres are sort of almost set then. What really opened my eyes was I was doing a Triumph Thruxton with another test rider. It was on the test track, and we were just basically just running them in, and there was one which had the full Ollins gear. I think it was a Thruxton R or whatever they decided to call it, because you know, I don't follow new bikes at all. And the other one was just a standard model, and of course I'd got in first early, warmed up the Ollins model, because I wanted to experience Ollins suspension, what all the fuss is about. But anyway, I might cut that bit out. But anyway, we were both on Thruxtons, and by the time we'd scrubbed the tyres in, because obviously you're on brand new tyres, so we'd done 100 mile or so, and you're only ever wearing in the left hand side of the tyre on this particular circuit. But after 100 miles we were like almost getting the pegs down in the wet. That's how good they were. And I think they were Continental Goes, and they were brilliant. And that really opened my eyes that it was a wet track that then went to damp, and I hate riding in damp. I'd sooner ride in very wet conditions than damp, because very wet, you can see it's wet everywhere, so you engage the brain into wet mode and you know, you're alright. If it's damp or damp patches, you're sort of in dry mode, and then all of a sudden you come across a damp patch. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see damp on the road on a motorbike, my arse twitches. And it's just that thing, because I always, on my 125, I had a set of test Dunlop tyres, so it foreshadowed things to come really, because I was testing for Dunlop when I was on L plates. Some more scarecrows there, look, brilliant. And these tyres from Dunlop, I can't remember the make, but it was on a Kawasaki AR125, so they were like bicycle tyres. And every time it was even mildly damp, I fell off the fucking thing. You know, just cornering steadily. And on my commute to work, Christ, I think I fell off that thing about 5-6 times when I had these tyres. And then my friend had the bike, because basically he got it in a better condition than I ever had it, because every time it went down it was repaired. But yeah, he used to borrow my bike, and I used to take his up the street for a service, because I worked in the same street as the bike shop. And I had a Honda NS125R. Oh yes, and it was a completely different world from that Kawasaki. It actually felt like a big bike. and it had bigger tyres, and it was a lot quicker, you know, relatively for a 125 it was a lot quicker. But yeah, every time I used to borrow this AR125 to take it for a service, fuck me, I dropped the bastard thing. So yeah, I mean, it cost me the fitting of the tyres. I was due new tyres anyway, and I can't remember what the original fitment was on the AR125, but they weren't that bad. I never ever had an issue with the original tyres. And then when these Dunlops got put on, they were, I can remember them being like Bakelite. They were hard as anything. They never got warm. I can remember that. They never warmed up, which of course is a warning sign, because they were a commuter tyre. And yeah, so consequently, every time my mate got this bike back, it'd have a fairing repair done on it or something like that. Which, if it bothered him, he never said so. He just used to find it quite funny, because in the end, we used to swap keys, and he used to go, right, well, I'm gonna start betting on which part comes back repaired. You know, it's just one of those things. But he used to like borrowing my bike as well, and I'm pretty sure, I'm sure he passed his test first, because, yeah, I think he did, because my friend went to buy another bike, and my mate took him. When Carnell's at Peterborough was still trading, I can remember my friend took him on his bike, and then took him on his old bike, and brought him back on his new bike with L plates. And of course they got stopped by the police because they were too up on a bike with L plates. And I found that hilarious, because I'd already razzed off into the distance.
So guys, I actually ended the video there because more than usual I just waffled on about rubbish. And let me know what you think about these vlogs, because it's, as I mentioned in the video, it's, unless you have a subject in your mind that you think you're going to talk about, it's actually quite difficult. You just end up, as you've seen, waffling about anything, which is me. It's just me. I can cover 100 subjects in 10 minutes if I really get down to it. But so let us know if you'd like to see a Facebook page or anything like that. Of course, if you like what you see, like, subscribe, share, helps us immensely. Also, for those of you that are able or even want to, there's a Patreon page. You know, if you want to buy us a brew or anything like that, that would be much appreciated. So yeah, next job, rear brake line. And we're going to start to sort of recommission Mrs. Shed's bike as well. That's probably going to be a full strip down, and we'll do that in the series, because the frame's rusting and it needs attention, because she's had it 12-13 years. It will not last another 12-13 years if we don't do something. So, you know, but it's all down to money at the end of the day. You've got to have the money to do these things. Stripping it down doesn't cost any money. It's the problems you find stripping it down that cost you money. And, you know, their bike runs fine. It's do tyres, stuff like that. But other than that, it's all right. But yeah, so yeah, Rosie's on holiday for a week and drives really well with the roof box. Doesn't whistle or anything like that. Don't notice it. And we noticed coming back up the Foss Way yesterday in Mrs. Shed's Fiat 500 Windy Pops, just how well the Rover rides, because you don't really notice many of the bumps and stuff like that on rough roads in the Rover. It just glides. It's like the ZX, that's quite a nice ride quality, but obviously if you go in much sportier than that, you crash and bang over everything. Next one on the list would probably be sort of more relaxed, something I'm seriously thinking about, a Royal Enfield 350 Meteor, because I tested those and I just fell in love with it. It's, you know, you might beride a small engine and, oh, it can only do X mile an hour, and it's like, I'm not interested. really not interested. If it's a nice ride, it's a nice ride. So we don't know. Who knows what the future holds? So anyway, guys, enjoy your bank holiday weekend. It's bank holiday here in the UK at least. Don't know if it is in Scotland and Ireland, but it is for England. And then, yes, a slight personal note to Rob, who's currently on his own adventure. Left Sioux City and is touring Texas and all that lot at the minute. It looks amazing, Rob. It really does look amazing. If you have got the time and you took your camera with you to do some short video, please do so. But yeah, it looks brilliant, mate, and I wish you all the best. So anyway, guys, till the next one. Hopefully next week. Could be about anything. Let's vlog about complete bollocks. We'll see you again. Keep safe, guys. Rubber side down and all that lot. Ta-ra.